He is not using a presidential commission's report. Yet he's telling us that he's going to use a ministerial investigation report. C'est pas une question vraiment ouverte. C'est dit. Anyone who knows what she is. Okay, now the doctor goes for the way. Again, I try now quick. Asana. What's Sana? What's not going to know? What's more? Okay, our family. To the media that is here, this demonstration is your demonstration. And so every media house here must report and report on this man. What happened to Ahmed Swale? He is one of you. What happened to Latif of Multimedia? He is one of you. What happened to Manasi Aturiawuni? He is one of you. What happened to Prince Minka of XYZ? He is one of you. What happened to Edward Ameti? He is one of you. What happened to Kalebuna? He is one of you. What happened to Zoe Aburedu? She is one of you. And to the ordinary Ghanaian on the street, know that you are like Zachariah Samina, who was killed. You are like Kaka, who was killed. You are like Ibrahim Abbas, who was killed. We are all Kaka. Yesterday it was Kaka. Today it is somebody else. Tomorrow it will be you if you do not stand up and speak up. We must tell the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces that he is holding that position himself for us. The power of the people is better than the people in power. And for Akufo-Addo, when we are here with you, go small, yes, as I know what's wrong here, Mane will then say, well, no. But better than you can do this. No matter what you wear, the last thing I'm going to say to those who had a meeting last night, we had an arrangement with the IGP of police on the routes we are using. The rules of this country say that crowd control is the job of the police. In fact, part of this
that was the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram constituency. But afterwards, two petitions were presented. One was presented at the presidency and the other at Parliament. Now, let's go and listen to what they presented at the presidency. We'll be right back.
I recognize particularly the chairman of the National Democratic Congress. I see the Member of Parliament here, former mayor of Accra. I have seen my friend, the National Women Organizer is also here. Peter Boama Otukuno is here. And of course, the Venerable General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress. It is indeed a right that you have exercised rightly, and we also have to complement it in order to build the democracy that this country is noted for. It is not during the tenure of Nana Akufo-Addo that will undermine the rights that have been guaranteed in the Constitution. And for this reason, I have been asked to come and receive the petition so that what should be done officially shall be done for the benefit of all of us in this republic called Ghana. So here we are, and we are ready to take that which you want to submit to the president. So may you kindly introduce yourself after the media? My name is Emmanuel Aduma Bosman. I'm Deputy Chief of Staff responsible for operations.
On behalf of the youth wing of the National Leadership of the party, present our association His Excellency. Come on, man. We believe that recent happenings in the country are nothing to write home about. The youth of Ghana have decided that today we will demonstrate somebody and show our displeasure to what is happening and call on the president that the challenges that confront many young people in this country I will read the petition to the media, and after we will present it to you. It's a lengthy one, so I will paraphrase them, pick the highlights, and then leave it at that. So you should put it in front of my camera. The microphones can go down. Okay, now let's get that. Petition to President Akufo-Addo by the National Youth Wing of the National Democratic Congress. The framers of the 1992 Constitution were spot on when they made provisions in Clause 1 of Article 1 that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name the powers of government are to be exercised in a manner and within the limits laid down in the strict adherence to the meaning of this Constitution. Your Excellency, you took the presidential oath on 7 January 2027 when you were first, 2017, when you were first elected President of the Republic. Although our party, the NDC, contested the general election, which was subsequently decided by the Supreme Court of our Republic, you took the same oath on January 7, 2021, to serve another 4-year term. The presidential oath has to know it not the particle words, such purposes, despite the polarized nature of our country, Ghanaians who voted for you, and indeed those who voted for your opponent, succumb to your constitutional arrangements and entrusted. Every job, including your political objectives, was to do you at home the tenant of our country, sustain the peace you inherited from your predecessors, improve upon the economic well-being of your nation, fight corruption ruthlessly, provide decent employment and youth in particular, and ensure the safety of everybody, among other things. Needless to say this, this was a very tricky campaign on promise. Your Excellency, without making work, and it has worked to say that the government has so far delivered the constitution almost all what the body stands. It cannot be said that if your objective is sincerely looked at, reflect on the state of the country, repeated to you what you have done with 8 to 5 years. You have eroded almost all the strides our country have made. In our country, if our country was a block.
By the National Youth Organizer of the National Democratic Congress, George Appiah, with some party executives like the General Secretary and the likes supporting him at the background. Now in Parliament, they met the absence of the Speaker of Parliament, but the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader received the petition on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament. Let's listen to what both the Minority Leader and the Majority Leader have been saying after they received the petition.
First, give an indication that the Speaker of Parliament has had to respond to an invitation by his colleague in Nigeria, and that is why you are not seeing him here. The Speaker is not by any means avoiding the demonstrators. He's had to respond to a call from his counterpart in Nigeria. That's why he's not here. There's a reason why the Minority Leader and I are here to receive your petition for and on behalf of the institution, and indeed because it was addressed to the Speaker, we are receiving it for and on behalf of the Speaker. Having said so, I guess it will be important before I make a few remarks to allow the Minority Leader to make an observation, a brief observation, and then I will come in to wrap it up. Minority Leader. Thank you very much for presenting the petition on behalf of the youth of Ghana. Our assurance to you is that Parliament will not fail the people of Ghana in demanding that right be done, and right be done to safeguard the peace and stability of our country, right be done to safeguard the stability of our country, and right be done to safeguard our democracy. Essentially, the bestiality of unruly behavior of the security agencies is not acceptable anywhere. We will look into it, probe into it, where it requires that we read the security agencies of those concerns raised. Parliament will not hesitate in doing that. Understand that the demonstration has generally been peaceful. That is how it should be. Freedom of expression is important, and freedom to demonstrate is important in a democracy for the expression of legitimate grievances. where you have come is a forum where these grievances will be digested. So you will hear from the Parliament of Ghana on the concerns that you have so raised. I'm sure that there will be a full debate after the Speaker in the House is apprised of the issues raised in the petition. So thank you very much for being peaceful. I would yield to the Leader of the House. Thank you. Thank you very much. My colleague, the Minority Leader, and as he has related, the right to assemble is a constitutional right. The right to demonstration is guaranteed by the Constitution. And the right to express yourself is also legitimately guaranteed by the Constitution and by our statutes. And that is why you are here. I think that the issues that you have raised relating to the protection of the lives of Ghanaians is at the heart of this, and I think that it's important that all of us relate to that. Since 1992, when we returned to constitutional administration, we've had several instances of partiality, as the Minority Leader has related to, involving security forces who are really under obligation to protect lives and livelihoods of Ghanaians. And so, having come here and submitted your petition to Parliament, it is left to Parliament to cause an investigation into it, and as the Constitution provides, any such investigation or inquiry could lead to legislation, or perhaps tightening the legislation to prevent what we have been witnessing. I think that every life in this country matters. Every single life in this country matters. And expression of our constitutional rights should not result in bloodletting. And that's why I'm happy that you are here, that you have organized this peaceful demonstration and come to Parliament should suggest to everybody that democracy is working in Ghana. We are not a perfect democracy, and that infractions must be dealt with in order to correct the system. And I think that that is the way to build our democracy. So I'm happy that you are here, and I thank you for being peaceful in today's organization. Parliament, upon the return of the Speaker, will trigger the necessary processes to deal with the petition that you have submitted. God be with us all. Thank you very much.
Well, that was both the Majority Leader, Honorable Sechi Mensah-Bonsu, and the Minority Leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, right there. They have received the petition on behalf of the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Alban Bagbin. Well, the Speaker of Parliament, according to the Majority and Minority Leader, has actually traveled to Nigeria, and for that reason they had to step in and receive the petition on his behalf. Well, I saw something hilarious today on Facebook where the Kumipreko demonstration was captured on an artwork halfway, and that of the current demonstration captured halfway. And what the artwork was trying to portray, has to do with the fact that the Kumipreko demonstration, which had, President Adankwa Akufo-Addo and some notable persons, including my boss, Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., they had to walk from wherever they started the demonstration to where they presented the petition. Unfortunately, in this one, you see, a picture of the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress in a V8, and that was quite hilarious. Anyway, that's just on the lighter side, but I've been joined in the studio by Alhaji Haruna Rashid Ibrahim, who is the National Director of Research for the National Democratic Congress. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We are so grateful for your time. It was on a short notice, but you made it a point to be here. I'm so grateful. I'm very, very, very grateful for your time.
Not a problem. It's my pleasure.
The National Democratic Congress today has embarked on a demonstration.
Yes.
What were you calling for? What are your reasons for embarking on the said demonstration?
Okay. First, let me say hello to your viewers and also to tell you that I'm really happy to be here because I've watched Pan-African TV for quite a long time, but this is the first time that I've had the privilege of being here.
Very well.
just to put it very simply, you know, it is the march for justice was to demand justice for the innocent victims. Okay, innocent victims in Ejura, innocent victims in Ododiodio, Ablekuma Central, Zavulugu, Techiman South. In fact, even going way back to Ayawaso West Wogan.
Okay.
What am I talking about? I'm talking about innocent victims that were shot and killed by uniformed officers. People in military uniform. Actually, the videos are there. Live videos that was covered in video. So we want justice for these people, not just the ones who died, but also the ones who were injured. I mean, just 2 days ago, Awal Misbao, okay, Awal Misbao, a 16-year-old, had to have his right leg amputated.
Very well. I saw the pictures,
Yes.
actually.
Had to have his right leg amputated. But just to, you know, kind of let people put this whole thing in context, to let people know the victims that we're talking about. Let me just go down the list.
Before you go down the list, are your misgivings not misdirected? Because I also West Wogan, we are talking about some security personnel, you know, perpetrating a certain crime.
Yes.
At Ododiodio, we are talking about same. At Ejra, we are talking about same. Your
Correct.
anger should have been directed at the military and the Ghana Police Service. Why at the presidency and that of Parliament?
I'm glad you asked the question, and it's a very good question. I think both you and I know who the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces is.
Right.
Okay. So first and foremost, the buck stops with him. He's the one who takes command. He's in charge. And the uniformed officers, the soldiers, whose duty, by the way, first and foremost, is to defend the nation against domestic and foreign enemies, and also to protect the national interests of Ghanaians, to serve and protect the national interests of Ghanaians. And all of these soldiers, the professional soldiers, come under his command, being the, you know, commander-in-chief.
Right.
And that is the reason why we are directing our petition to him. And the reason why we are also petitioning the Parliament is to make sure that the laws that are, you know, that they passed, okay, they will make sure that these things are taken care of, in the sense that, first and foremost, if there are three arms of government.
Right.
If the executive, for whatever reason, you know, fails to do their job, then we have, you know, the legislature that would serve in its oversight responsibilities to ensure that same is done correctly.
Very well.
But the other thing that we're doing is to really wake Nana Akufo-Addo from his daylight slumber. Because it seems like even during the day, he falls asleep. He's asleep at the switch. And that is the reason why things are falling apart.
If you say you're
in the country.
waking the president
Yes.
up, and that looks as, or it looks as if during the day the president is asleep. I mean, can you elaborate on that? Can you make it clear? What do you mean by that statement?
What do I mean by that? The reason, what I mean by that is that when you look at issues in just about every sector of the economy, in everything that is going on, things are not going well.
Okay.
To put it in the local parlance,
Nyamankoye. Okay. You are
Things
saying
are
that
falling
things
apart.
are not going well and that things are falling apart.
Yes.
What are some of the things you can pinpoint so that, well, this is not going right? You've talked about the increasing speed of,
the state of insecurity in the country,
you know, fantastic. That's one of those you can mention. But what other things are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the economy, the economic hardship that you and I are facing in the country. Okay? I'm talking about the lack of jobs, the joblessness of the youth, who make up about 75% of the registered voters in this country. People in the age bracket 18 to 40. Many of them, as we speak, are jobless, are hopeless, are helpless. They cannot find jobs, even though we've had promises and promises and promises. Failed promises. That's who I'm talking about. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the rationing of water, the basic necessity in this country. I'm talking about petrol and diesel. In fact, on my way here, I had to stop to fill up.
Yeah.
What used to cost me about 150, I had to put 225 to fill up. Why? These are the things that we're talking about. And then the other thing that we're talking about is, you know, just the general tension, the general tension that you feel in the country, the pervasive feeling of, you know, impunity, recklessness, and lawlessness that is going on by certain groups of people because they feel that they are in power, and also that mindset that says that ownership mindset, this is our country and we can do whatever that we want and you can't do focal to us. That is what we're talking about. These are the examples.
We will interrogate these examples of these reasons you've given, but you had wanted to refer to the note you have over there. You can go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why, you see, I have a vested personal interest.
Right.
Okay. You may not know this, but I'm actually a Zongo boy.
Okay.
You know, grew up in Nima.
Right.
Okay. A Muslim. And when I look at the list of the people who have been maimed, who have been killed, it will shock you to find out that just about every one of them are from the Zongos. Just about every one of them.
Right. Now let's go through the list.
Ahmed Swale.
Right.
Okay. Abdullah Yarik, Techiman South. Okay. Ibrahim Abbas, Ablekuma Central. Okay. Ibrahim Kaka, Ejra. Okay. Murtala Muhammad, Ejra. Okay. Tajuddin Al Hassan, Techiman South.
Right.
Abdul Nasser Yusuf, Ejra. Okay. Samira Zakaria, and this is heartbreaking, a 14-year-old girl. Savulugu. Okay. Tajuddin Al Hassan, also Techiman South. And then you have Rita Otu and Emmanuel Dompre. And I mentioned to you earlier about Awal Misbao, who had his right leg.
Yeah.
A 16-year-old, 16 just think about that. His life has been shattered forever and ever. His right leg amputated. This is on top of Yushao Yaro, whose leg was fractured there in Ayawaso West Wogan. And that's not the end of it. You may recall July 17, 2018,
Yeah.
in Asawasi, Kumasi, where DCOP Doku, under the pretense of catching some armed robbers, killed not one, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Zongo youth, under the pretense that they were armed robbers.
Okay.
Only to find out, after a 5-member committee investigated, found out that they were actually innocent. This is after this same DCOP Poku had put together some AK-47s and then some other ammunition and, you know, made it up to make it seem like it was them who did it. And the thing that really gets me is that DCOP, Deputy Commissioner of Police, is now Commissioner of Police. He has been promoted in spite of the fact that a 5-member committee found out that he lied under oath. He gave false evidence. He wrongly accused, not only wrongly accused, but actually terminated, eliminated, killed 7 Zongo youth. Why? You know, I'm saying all this, and I'm very passionate about this. Why does Zongo lives not matter? Why is it that over and over again we see these things happening, mainly because of, you know, people who happen to grow up in an area that is, you know, deprived. It does not have many of the amenities and are seem to be known as trouble areas. That's where I grew up in. I grew up in Nima. I went to Makaranta, Mala Nuria, New Nation at the Nima roundabout.
Yeah.
So it just does not make sense. And this is one of the reasons why we are creating awareness so that people would know every Ghanaian life matters, whether it's a Zongo life or someone in Asawasi or someone in Ashtown in Kumasi.
Now, someone would say that, well, that this is not to justify the killings that we've seen under this government, but this is not the first time this is happening. People have the view that, well, under your watch, because you've also been in government, we've seen people maimed, killed, and all of that. Why are we laying the blames on the doorsteps of government? Did you demonstrate when you were in government, when some of these things happened?
Does it make it right? Do 2 wrongs make it right?
It doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make
why
it right.
are you on the streets today? Because
so one can make the case.
Why didn't you find your voice when it was happening under your watch?
One can make the case. One can make the case that perhaps maybe one of the reasons why, a part of the reasons why people were not happy, people requested for a change of government. So that if indeed one can make that case, then we expect better. When you look at the promises, the goodwill with which Nana Akufo-Addo and the Bawumia government came into power, there were high hopes that they were going to fix everything, the economy,
Yeah.
all those things. And also the gargantuan number of ministers, about 125 of them. So you would have thought that when they come, they'll be able to fix each and every issue that is there because of the size of government. But lo and behold, what do we have? A gargantuan failure.
But being realistic,
failure in all kinds of ways.
Being realistic, no government has been able to fix every single situation or problem in this country.
That is true.
I expect this government to fix every single problem.
Tell me one problem this government has been able to fix. That is the issue. Yes, you can only do so much, but then to whom much is given, much is expected. What am we talking about? I'm talking about the amount of revenues, resources that have been made available to this government. What do we find in terms of the results, what they have been able to put on the table to show? My brother, just call any economy, any sector of the economy, and I can tell you that there are problems. Whether it's free SHS, which is a very good idea, but badly implemented. Badly implemented. Whether it's the issue with electricity, just quite recently, you know, we had Doomso schedule brought out. As I speak to you right now, in the Adenta area, in other parts of Accra, water is rationed. Okay, the roads are bad. The security going out even late at night, you have to worry. Look, you know, you have so many, even the people who are supposed to, you know, protect us, the police officers, are themselves targeted. You recall the bullion van where the policeman was shot in the head. And just 2 days ago, I even shudder to say, an Uber driver was beheaded.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So these are the issues that, you know, these are the issues, Justice, that we are asking for this government that has come forward to say that they can do this, they can do this, they can take care of those problems. That is what we are demanding. Let them wake up. Let them bring us the goods. Let them deliver on their promises, which to this day they have not been able to.
Now, talk of issues of insecurity in the country.
Yes.
And let's use the Edra issue as a case study.
Okay.
President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo has given the minister 10-day deadline to probe the issue. So you know that, you know, Commission of Inquiry has been set up to, you know, probe the issue, and they've started their work as of today. I believe that the Edra situation is what broke the camel's back for the NDC to finally, you know, embark on this demonstration. Once the president has given a 10-day ultimatum for the issue to be probed, shouldn't you have given this government the benefit of the doubt to have done some good job and, you know, punish the perpetrators?
Well, Justice, I'm glad that you asked the question, but you see, the accounts also have another saying. Agrobesoa.
If we are not
Okay. Now, what am I talking about? You and I were in this country when the Ayawaso West Worgan issue came up. And what happened? The Emil Short Commission. Now, it was not a ministerial, you know, inquiry. This was even, the Emil Short Commission was even higher in terms of status. Tell me, my brother, what happened to it? After the findings were brought forward, not only were they rejected and not accepted, you know, the recommendations and the findings were not implemented. If that was not implemented, what gives me confidence that a ministerial inquiry, which is lower than the Emil Short Commission, would be adhered to by this same government? Not only that, I mentioned to you about the 5-member committee, okay, that was set up in Kumasi to look into the killing of the 7 Zongo youth. What happened to the recommendations? Findings were brought forward. Nothing happened. DCOP Poku is now Commissioner of Police. Poku. Let's not stop there. Quite recently, okay, the national security officers led by Azubu raided City TV, right?
You're right.
And, you know, Zoe. And then they also assaulted a journalist, Caleb Koda. What happened? You know, the day after this whole thing happened, Colonel Frank, who was the one charged with assaulting, kicking Caleb in the groin, okay, what happened to him? He was promoted to a commanding officer of the 84th Battalion. So, Justice, I have zero confidence. I have zero confidence in this government to, you know, apply or to heed to the recommendations of any committee or any commission of inquiry that is set up. This is also coming from the history that we know over the 5 years where the Nana Akufo-Addo government and the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, what did they do? They have never, no one that we know of, they always, you know, clear anybody that comes up with any issues. So much so that Nana Akufo-Addo was, you know, dubbed a clearing agent. So, Justice, I am going by experience. I am going by experience based on what has happened in the past. I'm guided by history. I am guided by their record. And as I sit here, I am not comfortable. And then the 4-member committee that was set up to look into the brutalities meted out by soldiers in Wa. Guess who is in charge of it? A colonel, an army colonel. How do you put a colonel in charge of, looking into misbehavior, conduct unbecoming military officers, his subordinates? That is not to say that, I just do not feel confident based on, even if the commissions of inquiry do a good job and they are able to do it objectively, professionally. Would the Nana Akufo-Addo government listen to them? I doubt it, because they did not listen to the Emil Short Commission findings. They did not take that to heed. They did not accept all of it, and they rejected some of it. And not only that, they did not implement any of it. To this day, can you name one person who was punished, who was, given any kind of, who suffered any consequence of the Ayawaso West War gun, other than the victims? Not a single person. So what gives me confidence that, Nana Akufo-Addo and his cronies would be able to, make things right? As the Germans said, alles kaputt.
How would a demonstration, affect things?
Thank you.
If, a commission of inquiry was set up, the short commission was set up, the findings, the recommendations were thrown out, they were not worked with. How do you think that your demonstration would affect, or some changes and all of that?
Well, it's certainly going to raise awareness and let people know this is the type of government that we are dealing with. Okay? And then, in fact, when you look at the demands that we made in the petition, I have a copy of the petition here.
Right.
Okay?
What are the demands?
The demands: immediately implements recommendations of the Emil Short Commission.
Okay.
Of inquiry report forthwith. In particular, pay compensation to all victims and direct the Attorney General to prosecute all culprits. Beyond investigating all acts of violence perpetrated by officers of the security agencies under your watch, ensure that all victims get justice as required by law. Victims of acts of violence from Ejura, Ablekuma Central, Ododio, Banda, etc. must all not be denied justice, and make provisions towards providing decent jobs for the teeming youth of the country through proper structural economic reforms and business support for enterprises of young people. Ensure the safety and security of all Ghanaians. Extremely important. Stamp out corruption by prosecuting corrupt officials in your government, other than shielding them. Stop being a clearing agent is what we're saying. We ask that there is a fierce urgency to halt the hopeless nature of cronyism that has crept into government. 6, take steps to fulfill campaign promises to the good people of Ghana and be respectful and truthful to the citizenry. Number 7, depoliticize security services. Depoliticize security services, introducing reforms to give true meaning to its independence. We charge that these reforms be led by experts in our country and not partisan appointees. Number 8, instruct Attorney General and the Minister of Justice to improve the justice system and wean the judiciary off partisan influence. These are the 8 demands.
I'm very much interested in the 7th demand.
Yes.
Depoliticize the security
Services, yes.
What's your conviction that the security services have been politicized?
Oh. Where do I start? There are so many examples that I can give you.
What are those examples?
I can give you so many examples of things that you have, depending on whether you are a member of the NPP, whether you be invited, or whether you are a member of the NDC, what's going to happen to you. Let me give you an example. Kennedy Japan.
Right.
How many times have we now heard him on his TV talk about go get Ahmed Swale, beat him up, and if anything happens, I will pay. This is something that is caught on the. When was the last time he was called? He was invited. He was invited to the police to, and then Ahmed Swale, in the end, was killed, was shot mafia style while sitting in his car in Medina. So far, have you heard of Kennedy Japan being called to answer for his actions? No. But there are several examples that I can give you of, NDC people who have been called for the least things to go and answer for. That is just one example. That, an example that is associated with the kind of insecurity, the state of, lawlessness and impunity.
Does that explain the kind of politicization you're talking about? The politicization of the security services. The fact that
that's an example.
Okay, very
because
well.
If he had been, if he had been an NDC person, I can assure you, he would have been invited, and he would have been prosecuted.
Right.
Because his threats to the well-being and the welfare of Ahmed Swale resulted in Ahmed Swale being killed. When he said that he go beat him up, and even, in fact, even showed his picture on TV. That's an example of what I'm talking about.
Right.
And there are several others of examples that we can talk about. But you see, the thing that I think we have to look at is the issue that we have, the lack of trust and confidence in this government for them to do the right thing. That culture of impunity, lawlessness, we can do whatever that we want, and there's nothing that you can stop us. There's nothing that you can do to us. There just doesn't seem to be anything that will prick their conscience to say, oh no, this is not right. They just go ahead and do whatever they want because they have this mindset in their mind that, we own this town, we own this place, and we will do anything that we want, and we can get away with it.
Now,
that is something that needs to change.
You have made some demands in your petition.
Yes.
8 of them.
Yes, we did.
The NDC, take it or leave it, can best be described as a government in waiting. You're making demands. What are some alternatives you're providing to the good people of Ghana? Instead of making the demands, have you positioned yourself well to Ghanaians that, look, well, this is how we would deal with these problems if we are confronted with?
Well, I can definitely tell you that, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is a very decent, straightforward person who, goes by the book. And the records show that when one of his appointees, did the wrong thing, he called for the dismissal. And not only that, the other thing that I can say to you is this, that the NDC, these things that are going on, if they do not go by the demands, there is no statute of limitations on criminality, okay, on corruption. Time does not run out. And inshallah, when we come back in 2024, if they do not do the right things, we will make sure, or not only this issues with insecurity, but also the financial losses and the mismanagement, the issues of conflict of interest, the pervasive, the wrong things, the judgment debts that these guys have put us through. We will make sure that they pay. We will make sure that they pay. We will make sure that we prosecute them, and we will make sure that the book is thrown at them.
Right.
That is how we positioned ourselves to give confidence to the Ghanaians that when we come, we are going to do things by the book. We will do things right. We will make sure that everything is done right. And then when we do it, it is not going to matter which side of the aisle you're on. We are going to play by the book, and the law will be, Miss Justice, Lady Justice will be blind. It does not matter whether you are NDC or MPP or whoever. We will do the right thing. And that is the confidence that people should have, not only in terms of criminality, but also in terms of business. We respect the sanctity of contracts. We will not just go around and, abrogate contracts without thinking of the consequences. We will do the right things. We will check and make sure that we simulate our policies before putting them out there. We will eliminate nuisance taxes. We will make sure that the right things are done, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in industry, whether it's in transportation. Look, all you have to do is look at our history, look at our record, and compare it mano a mano to Nana Akufo-Addo and the Bawumia government versus His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The 88 hospitals, where are they? The year of the roads, what happened? The schools, how many schools have they built? Where are the factories? Where is the industrialization? The issue that they talked about, moving us from taxation to industrialization. Where are the industries?
They're building factories.
Which factories?
One district, one factory.
One district, one factory. You go around and then you take a factory that has been in existence since before Bawumia was born, and then turn around and say that it's, one district, one factory. It's a joke. What this government has been able to do, what they are really good at doing, is PR, public relations, the image, the optics, the looks, the propaganda, the sounds. But when it comes to real delivery of service, they just give lip service. You see, what we want to do is, introduce a brand of politics that is rooted in service to the people, rooted in public service, not lip service, which is what these guys have done.
Right.
They made all kinds of promises. What happened to the failed promises? What happened to the promises? Bawumia said, he knows where the money is because he was a governor, deputy governor of
Bank of Ghana.
Bank of Ghana.
Right.
What happened? He promised bank accounts to everybody. What happened? He promised toilets for every village. He promised water for every village. He said he has locked up the city and giving it to the IGP. Where is it now? It's now, the last time I checked, is 585. What is, 1 liter of petrol? 6 cities and 23 pesos. A local of Gary, tomatoes, pepper. I'm talking about, the ordinary Davi, Ayele, Salifu, and Muhammad. That's what we're talking about. That is what NDC is concerned about. Social democracy, so that it does not matter where you come from, what your background is. We will treat you right. We will not, you are not going to be seen as, some special class. We are all the same.
But people are also saying that the NDC doesn't have the moral right to demonstrate on the state of the economy, because it wasn't different under your watch either, was it?
Oh my goodness! It was not different. Was petrol 6 cities and 23 pesos? Was city five cities and 85 pesos? Did we have rationed water? Wasn't the electricity fixed? Did we have double track system? With kids going to school for 1 month and coming home and staying for 3 months? Did we have these kind of pregnancies, teenage pregnancies? Did we have truancies? Do we have this state of insecurity where people are afraid to go out at night?
Right.
Come on. Do you know what is different?
No.
What is different is that your guys. Maybe present company is excluded. Your guys and journalists have lost their mouths. They've lost their voices. The pastors all of a sudden don't speak anymore. The Peace Council all of a sudden don't know what is. The Nyansafo are no longer there. This is the issue. Just imagine some of the things that are happening now. If they had happened at the time of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, oh my goodness, will we be able to sit in this town? But now, all of them are quiet. All of them are quiet. The Sefakais don't speak anymore, don't see anything wrong. They are basically, they don't hear anything, they don't speak anything, they don't see anything.
Maybe there's nothing wrong for them.
Oh, yeah, for them, yes. You know why? Maybe you don't talk when your mouth is full. You don't talk when your mouth is full. Maybe that's what's happening. But no, you cannot sit here and justifiably tell me, by any measure, by any imagination, tell me things are better today than they were 4 or 5 years ago. By any measure. Absolutely not. And if there is, let's talk about it. It's a conversation that I'll be more than happy to have.
Corruption and prosecution of government officials in this government is one of the reasons or the demands you have made in the petition.
Correct.
The previous government was accused of having engaged in corruption, or corruption-related activities in one way or the other, of which, I cannot independently confirm that those allegations were true or false. But everybody is of the view that every government is corrupt. Every political party is corrupt. Why demonstrating that this government corruption?
Well, let me say this. If the John Dramani Mahama administration was so corrupt, and the noise that they made about corruption here, corruption there, and all those things about him owning hotels in Dubai and everywhere, why is it that no one, not a single person in his administration has been prosecuted and taken to jail? The proof You see, it's not what you say, it's what the courts say, what the courts of competent jurisdiction. Courts of competent jurisdiction, why is it that no one has been jailed? In fact, leading into the 2016 election, that's what they kept saying. You better jail him, or you better say. What happened? Nothing. So, my brother, that is the answer. If there were indeed corrupt officials in the JM's government, why have they now been brought to justice? Surely they're not afraid of JM, are they?
Not at all.
Okay. But I can assure you, when we come to power, there's evidence. We are keeping track. And I can tell you, as director of research, we are keeping lists. We are making sure. And the evidence abounds. Evidence abounds. And we will share it with whoever is going to be the AG, and then let them decide if it's something that they can prosecute or not. But certainly, whether it's Kelly GVG, whether it's the contaminated fuel, okay, whether it's the conflict of interest, okay, whether it's this GPGC $170 million judgment debt. My brother, this, for your viewers, we have started from January 7th, 2017. We have kept a chronicle, an index of scandals, corruption scandals on the website, and I invite you to go take a look at it. Okay? www.scandalsindex.org, and you will see everything from January 7th to date.
Right.
Of all the things that this Nana Akufo-Addo government has done, that we know for it to be scandalous, we know for it to be corrupt, and we know for it not to be in the nation building mode of things. We just don't speak, we just don't say things. Everything that we talk about is evidence based.
Right.
Things that we can back up. That is what, justice we're talking about.
All right,
and that is what moved us to do all this, the demand for justice, and the 8 demands that we have.
Okay. All right, let me take a few of our messages. I'll come back for us to wrap up, but there's a question I'll ask you on that before we go. This one says, Shama Ba, good evening, Justice. Please, Mr. Bawumia, where is the one constituency $1 million you promised? Please, Mr. Bawumia, have you gotten the dollar keys from IGP? Where are the independent voices? Please, my regards to President Adumba Mahama. May he live long. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, hi, good evening. I'm Kofi inside Cape Coast. I'm watching you live. Keep the good job up. Greetings to Abnahi Ford inside Asim Praso. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, Pan-African television is the best. Please, NAPCO trainings have not been paid for 4 months now. So please, can you call the CEO to interview him about that? We are hungry. All right, thank you so much. I'll try as much as possible to get the CEO and see if they would have responses to that. Chorus calls Zakaria and Sunyani says, Ghanaians are now regretting for wasting their votes on MPP. Demo, come let's hit the street to clad ourselves in red and black to show every sector that has been destroyed by the incompetent Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the indebting Ghana. MPP government should accept that they don't know how to rule or govern. They have caused Ghana unnecessary debt. Godfrey Dame and NPP must answer questions and stop blaming Mahama. If the deal was profitable, Mahama's name wouldn't have been mentioned. John Mahama is a nation builder, not nation destroyer, like President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Thank you so much, Koresko, Zakaria, and Sunyani. This one also says, good evening, Pan-African Television. Keep your good work and may God protect you. My brother, we can't talk about this MPP government because they have failed us. Their promises, and please, I'm reminding them about Boko to Bolga Road because the contract was awarded for only 3 years since 2016, but up to now, they have not finished it. Akundugu Charles from Boko West District, Zebila to be precise. Thank you so much for your message. I think that our time is almost up. I would want to do this. This one says, what happened to Nkwanta South DC, Peter Kojo, Kayen's murder? All right, thank you so much. You've also asked a question. This one says, it's only MPP political charlatans based on their criticism, based on their cynicism, coupled with utter lack of partisan political sagacity, condemned the conduct of NDC just like the ancient Jews condemned the ancient Egyptians because they used to call their pharaohs gods. But today, amidst the Jews, the Christians call Jesus the son of a woman, God, and yet Christians are the bosom friends of Jews. But NDC, like Muslims rather than the Jews, will ever refute the theological belief of human being called God. So NDC, unlike the Jews, will persistently refute the repetition of the alleged system it was condemned by MPP of doing. Let me take this final one, then we go. Sorry, unfortunately, I'm unable to read your message. I'll come back. Let's wrap up with this, Alhaji Aruna. Now, you have presented your petition and demands to Parliament and that of the President. If these demands are not attended to, what will be the next line of action for the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress who, have embarked on the protest today?
Well, before I answer that, I'll be remiss if we go throughout this conversation without me really commending the professionalism of the police today. In fact, I'm most impressed. They conducted themselves professionally. There was no incident. Everything went perfect. Very well. Nothing happened. Nothing wrong happened, and, perhaps these are the real police officers, not, the other ones, okay? Yeah, there are some challenges, but yes, today they conducted themselves very, professionally, and they are to be commended for their professionalism. Now, what will be the next step? See, I have, an optimistic view of things, okay? But I'm a realist, but also optimistic. So I will say, before we come out to say we're going to do this, we're going to do, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance to see what they do. And then not only that, in fact, I have more of a confidence in the legislator, in the Speaker of the House, on whose behalf the petition was, received. I have more confidence in him than I do in the Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government. So I believe that the Parliament, led by, the Right Honorable Bagbin and Haruna Idrisu and Osei Chairman Sabonso, would do the right thing, even if the executive does not. So I'll wait and see what happens first before we come out to say we'll do A, B, C, or D.
All right, thank you so much for coming. We are so grateful for your time. So soon our time is up.
Yes.
I would want us to do this more often.
I love that.
All right, well, this is the time we'll last on the program. Make a time with us, same time tomorrow. My name is Appiah, and the show has been Hot News. Goodbye.